Cognizant to the needs of our learners, parents, and teachers, the Department of Education provided us with powerful tools for productivity that will allow us to foster critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, communication and collaboration skills to be compassionate, responsible global citizens. Join us and discover new ideas in our series of professional development training program with the ICTS EdTech Unit and Microsoft Education Philippines. Together, we will equip our learners and empower our fellow educators for a dynamic future. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, at para sa guro. Sulong Edukalidad. Mabuhay! Isang mapagpalang araw sa ating lahat. Ako ang inyong lingkod, Tutor Madge. Welcome sa ating ETUlay, ang ating libreng online tutorial na hatid ng ating kagawaran ng edukasyon, ICTS EdTech. Ang programang ito ay inaasahang makatutulong at maging karagdagang kaalaman sa mga mag-aaral mula kinder hanggang senior high school, ALS, Alive, at SPED learners. Bukod sa pagsagot ng mga modules, ang ETUlay ay may mga special programs din na siguradong aabangan ninyo araw-araw. Katuwang ang ating mga minamahal na mga magulang at guro ay maitutuloy natin ang pagkatuto. Kaya, ihanda na ang inyong module, lapis, papel o kwaderno. Ihanda rin ang isip, mata at tenga sa isa na namang makabuluhang aralin. Tayo nang matuto kasama ang inyong volunteer online tutor sa oras na ito.
Isang Humstastic na hapon, our Humstastic cuties mula Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao. Welcome sa inyong DepEd ETUlay online tutorial program. Ito ay handog sa inyo ng Department of Education sa pangunguna ng Educational Technology Unit. Hayaan niyo akong samahan kayo sa isang makabuluhang pag-aaral sa hapong ito. Kaya humanda na at sumamang saliksikin ang hiwaga ng humanidades sa daghang panlipunan. Sa ngalan ng aking partner na si Tutor Aids, welcome sa inyong DepEd ETUlay online tutorial program. Ako ang inyong Humstastic Tutor G, ang Gigil na kayo ay paglingkuran at matuto sa hapong ito. Sa subject na philosophy, papalawigin natin ang ating kaalaman sa larangan ng filosofiya because we learn, we create, and we think in philosophy. Okay, now let me introduce to you our Tutie of the Week. Siya ang tutie na nagpakita ng galing at pagiging active sa pagsagot ng mga activities at nakilahok sa mga buong discussions last week. Kaya't gusto kong batiin si John Carlo Filon, Section 12 ng H.E. Ciceron ng Alaminos Integrated National High School, SDO Laguna. Gusto din nating pasalamatan ng kanyang advisor na si Ma'am Marie Chris Suyong. Ayan, congratulations and salamat sa iyong aktibong pakikinig at pagsagot sa ating session last week. Napakagaling din ng lahat ng mga tuties na sumali sa atin last week at marami ngayon sila dito sa ating bagong lesson. Again, hello sa ating mga tuties na kasama natin ngayong live, pati na ang mga parents and teachers, lalo na sa mga co-teachers ko dyan sa Maligaya National High School sa pangunguna ng aming butihing principal na si Ma'am Jesusa D. Bote. Okay, so welcome tuties and parents to our subject, Introduction to the Philosophy of the Human Person, Quarter 2, Week 3, the Human Person and Society. Okay, nais ko ulit batiin lahat ng ating mga tuties, especially sa mga estudyante ko dyan sa Maligaya National High School. Salamat sa inyong pag-join. Okay, muli akin pong pinapasalamatan natin ang DepEd Region 4A Calabarzon para sa module na gagamitin natin today. So this module is also available in DepEd Commons. Okay, now the objectives. So after going through this module, you are expected to identify the different types of society, differentiate their qualities, explain digital society and digital citizenship, identify the effects of being a member of digital society. So now let us have an activity. So before we move on to our lesson, now let me read the situation. Okay, now I will read the following situations, then you answer the questions thereafter, okay? So in answering the questions, try to appreciate the situation first using the social norms, how you remember them. So, okay, so write your answers in the comment section. Ayan. So, let's begin. So, I will read the situation first, then I will ask you afterwards about what you think about it. Ayan. Okay. Situation. A very good friend of yours visits you and your family in your house. Your mother, who was delighted by her presence, cooks her best dish for your friend. Your friend loved the whole lunch that she kept complimenting your mother for being such a good cook. At the end of the visit, she expresses her gratitude to the whole family. Before she leaves, she approaches your mother and asks, "How much do I pay you for the lunch you cooked for me?" Ayan. So, yan ang ating situation. Now, the questions. Let me give you the questions. Okay. The questions are, is there something wrong with the friend's response to your mother's hospitality? What makes this reaction awkward for you? Okay, so sa situation na present natin, yung friend mo na bumisita ay pinaghandaan ni mami ng kanyang best dish at na-enjoy naman yan ni friend. Ngayon, tinanong niya ang mami mo kung magkano babayaran niya sa tanghalian na niluto ni mami. Okay, so write down your answers in the comment section and I will read them one by one. Ayan. So, while waiting for your answers, so let me first read those who are present with us today. So, we have Joseph. Hello, Joseph. Conrad Bulaklak. Bea May N. Painado, Ira N. Bantaculo, Nessie Escultura, Lorraine de Guzman, Bea May N. Painado ulit, Samantha Bugarin Kapatoy, Ma'am Aileen Maglangke, hello po. Althea. Now we have an answer coming from Joseph Conrad Bulaklak. She was good, kind friend because he is good. What you done, they will be a good kind. Okay, thank you, Joseph. Now we have Lorraine. Let's read Lorraine's answer. So, ang sagot ni Lorraine, yes, there is something wrong with the friend. Sabi niya. So, there is something wrong with the friend's response to the mother's hospitality. It's better if she just thanked the mother for the delicious food and not mention to pay it. Okay, very good. Now, let's have Bea May's answer. For me, there is nothing wrong with her response because this may be her way to thank my mother. But I don't know if others in our house, and especially my mother, will misunderstand if she will be hurt or will she accept the way of my mother's gratitude. But still, for me, there was nothing wrong with his response. Okay, so ang dami na nating natatanggap na sagot. So, isa pa. Basahin pa natin ang isa pang sagot kay Kaysilin Mecaraeg Belano. Sabi niya, yes, there is absolutely something wrong with my friend's response to my mother when she asked how much she would pay for the cooking that my mother did for her. It was not pleasant to listen to. That incident became awkward for me because it was a bit rude and she didn't seem to show any gratitude for what my mother had done for her. So, ayan ang sagot ng ating mga cuties. So, marami pa tayong mga sagot. Sige, keep them coming, students. Okay, cuties. Thank you sa inyong mga sagot. Now, let us move on to our lesson 1, the different types of society. So, siguro na touch na natin to sa ating mga AP subjects or social science subjects, social studies. Okay, so this is a little bit easy for you cuties. Okay, so lesson 1, the different types of societies. Now, let us go first to the pre-industrial society. So as you can see dito sa picture, meron tayong mga grupo ng tao na mukhang mga nasa primitive setting. Ayan. So, now let us have the under pre-industrial societies, we have tribal society. So the term tribe or tribo denotes a group of people living in a primitive setting under a leader or a chief. So the term tribal society associates it to the other meanings such as primitive society or preliterate society. So, ang mga tribal societies, chutis, are small in scale, okay? Small in scale. Maliliit lang na grupo ng tao. So, nakatali sila or nakabikis sila sa mga iba't ibang paniniwala na specific lamang dun sa kanilang society. However, we should also remember that tribal society show a self-sustaining structure. So meaning, kaya nilang tumayo sa sarili nilang paa, independent sila, although primitive ang kanilang pamumuhay. Okay. So now next we have the feudal society. So naririnig na natin ito palagi. So feudalism refers to the economic, political, and social system that prevailed in Europe for about the 9th to the 15th century. So there was no centralized government. Kings and lords granted land and in exchange, they were protected by vassals, while peasants or serf worked on their land. So naririnig na natin palagi itong salitang to, di ba? Yung feudalism or feudalismo. So kapag sinabi natin, naririnig natin yan sa mga nagrarally, pero hindi tayo doon magtatash. Okay? So kapag sinabi natin feudalism, this refers to the economic, political, and social system na umiiral sa Europa noong 9th to 15th century. So there was no centralized government, okay? So yung mga kings, ang mga nagmamay-ari ng lupa ay ang mga kings and lords. So ngayon, yung mga vassals or yung mga yun ang tawag nila sa mga knights at yung mga sundalo nung panahon na iyon, okay? So habang yung mga peasants naman or serfs, sila yung mga slaves na nagtratrabaho naman sa mga lupa. Ayan, so yun ang feudal society, okay? Now, let's move on to the industrial society. So ayan, makikita natin sa picture ang mga taong nagtratrabaho, okay? Alamin natin ngayon anong klase ng pamumuhay ang industrial society. Okay, sabi dyan, industrial societies, one which uses advanced technology to drive a massive production industry that will support a large population. So the objective of an industrial economy is the fast and efficient manufacturing of standardized products. Ayan. So, ang industrial society daw ay nagsusupport ng large population. So, the objective, sinabi nga natin, is the fast and efficient manufacturing of standardized products. Katulad na lang kung may bibili ng kotse. So, there is a chance na mass-produced ito. Maramihan sila gumawa. Dahil marami siyang kapareho. Nakikita natin na itong kunwari, itong Mazda na car or yung Vios na car, meron din maraming Vios na nandyan lang sa yung mga nakabili. Okay? So marami siyang kapareho. So mass-produce siya. At ang mga parte din nito ay pwedeng palitan dahil mass-produce din ang kanilang mga parts. Ayan, yan ang industrial society. Okay, now let us go to post-industrial society. Ayan, so tignan natin yung picture. So makikita natin may mga taong nagtratrabaho. Ayan, so same lang din. Nag-work lang. Pero ang kakaiba nito, okay, let's see. Post-industrial societies is marked by a progress from a manufacturing-based to a service-based economy. So post-industrialization is most evident in countries and regions that were among the first to experience the industrial revolution na tinatawag, such as the United States, Western Europe, and Japan. Okay. So sa post-industrial countries, yun yung mga bansang nanguna sa larangan ng industriya. So, ayan, nabanggit nga natin ang Japan, United States, at ang Western Europe bilang mga nangunguna sa industrial revolution. So that is post-industrial society. Okay. So ngayon naman, dadako tayo sa mga katangian ng post-industrial societies. So paano ba natin masasabi ng isang bansa ay post-industrial? So una, there is a shift from the production of goods to the production of services. Then, there is the replacement of manual laborers with technical and professional workers as the direct production of goods is moved elsewhere. Okay, and finally, there is the replacement of practical knowledge with theoretical knowledge. So, ang focus is the sale of services at nawawala na din ang manual labor. So, napapalitan na ito ng mga professional workers dahil nalipat na or inalis na ang production of goods sa society na ito. Okay, hindi na sila nakafocus sa manual labor. Nakafocus na sila sa professional work tulad ng mga doctors, engineers, bankers, ganyan. Okay. Another one. So, adding to the characteristics, we have focusing to the theoretical and ethical implications of new technologies, the development of recent scientific disciplines to evaluate the theoretical and ethical implications of new technologies, an emphasis on the university and polytechnic institutes, and the changing values and norms which reflects the influences on the society. Okay, so nagkakaroon na ng changes sa industry, focusing more on technology and innovations. Kaya kapag sinabi natin post-industrial society, we talk about the new forms of information technology, cybernetics, or artificial intelligence. Okay? Okay, so let's move on. Okay? Now we go to digital society and the information age. Ayan. So parang nasa ICT tayo na topic. Pero just wait, pupunta tayo, malapit na tayo sa field. Bakit natin to nababanggit, itong mga societies? Ayan. Wait lang tayo at makinig lang tayo kay Tutor G. Ayan. So, digital society and the information age. So, digital technologies have widely affected our interactions and activity in the 21st century. They have significantly changed our way of learning, working, and socializing. Okay, in this modern world, we rely with the use of modern technology. So, digital technologies have widely affected our interactions and activities in the 21st century. So, this has led to considering the possible outcomes for the society kung paano tayo makipag-interact, paano natin gagamitin ang mga digital tools at communication channels. So, moving on, now we have the information society na tinatawag. So, it is correlated with the progress and development of digital information and communication technologies to the internet. Okay, so information society plays a vital role with regards sa mga bagay-bagay or idea na nagsisirculate at nagkokontrol sa mga pananaw na nakakaapekto naman sa politika, ekonomiya at kultura natin. Kaya para sa ating mga citizens, ang ibig sabihin nito ay napapalawak at nabibigyan tayo ng opportunity para maabot ang mas maraming tao o mas malaking audience. So nagkakaroon ng connection sa bawat isa at nadadagdagan ang kaalaman natin dahil sa development ng information at communications technology. Ayan, now moving on, let us discuss digital citizenship. Now, what is digital citizenship? This digital citizen. So, he or she is a person who is knowledgeable and responsible enough to effectively use different social platforms in the internet. They often engage in useful topics and issues that will help build a better society, politics, and government. So kung iisipin natin, simple lang naman kapag sinabi nating digital citizen. Yan yung tao na marunong sa paggamit ng internet. Okay, so kayo ba ay marunong sa paggamit ng internet? Pero hindi lang yon. Okay, dapat nating maintindihan na siya o sila yung mga gumagamit ng internet safely. Okay? So it also focuses on the individual's behavior in terms of rights, obligations, and functions of that said citizen. Okay? So what does this all mean in the digital age now? Okay, what does this all mean then? Okay. So we have said that being a digital citizen requires active participation online, not just access and use, active participation. So we can use digital technologies to engage and participate on many levels in society and political life. The virtual society and the technological devices today are starting to reshape the human person and human interactions and relationships. Ano bang ibig sabihin yan? 'Di ba nagbabago na ang pamumuhay natin? All thanks to technology, especially the internet. Okay, nagiging lamang ang buhay natin sa virtual world kaysa sa ating real world. 'Di ba? Tama ba? Mas matimbang para sa atin ang virtual world kaysa sa real world na tinatawag, 'di ba? Okay. Now listen to this carefully. Okay? More and more interactions are done in the virtual world than in the actual world. People are more thrilled to see their virtual selves than their actual selves. They are more themselves online than offline. And this leads one to ask, who am I? In a more complex manner. People seem to start manipulating personalities as they exhibit different behaviors in different worlds. Okay, tama ba? Nagiging mas active tayo online kaysa sa totoong buhay. Maaari pa nga tayong gumawa ng different persona or yung pagkatao natin pag tayo ay nasa internet or online world. Kaya meron tayong nabuong tanong na, who am I? So who are you really? Paano na ba tayo namumuhay? People fall in love in virtual worlds, di ba? Someone breaks up with a partner through a text message. Human relations seem to start losing an important element in living. So ano yon? Ano yung nawawalang elemento ng human relations sa totoong buhay? No, yun ay ang commitment. So virtual worlds and disembodied relations lack commitment. We can also step back and retreat in a virtual world, and we can always create a new self when our avatar dies, yung icon natin or yung ginawa nating persona online. Kung kunyari, namamatay siya o kaya hindi na natin siya gusto, pwede natin siya palitan. We can always create a new one. Di ba? So, we can always also ignore messages. Kaya natin yon, di ba? Pag nasa virtual world, kaya mong ignore ang mga messages. Pero sa totoong buhay, hindi mo siya may ignore kung sinabihan ka o may sinabi sa'yo. So, virtual realities, virtual worlds, remove the risks. Di ba? And because we do not want to risk, we patronize the visual world. So, isn't it? Commitment is hard. To commit is to risk. Okay? So, sa virtual world, konti lang ang risk, di ba? Konti lang ang commitment. Yan. So, I hope you understood that message, okay? So, who am I? Do you commit yourselves? Ayan. Now, let's move on. So, we have here the disembodied subject. Okay? The dissatisfaction and frustration of the human person with bodily limitations, drive the person to prefer a disembodied human relation. However, it must be clarified that the term disembodied subject does not mean that human persons are no longer living with their bodies. Face-to-face interaction is too stressful and difficult, while virtual interactions are relatively easier. Ayan, so sinasabi natin dito na parang mas gusto na ng isang tao na magkaroon na lamang ng disembodied relation. Bakit? Dahil hindi siya nasa-satisfy or frustrated siya sa katauhan niya. Okay, nai-stress tayo sa face-to-face interactions. Kaya parang mas madali na lang na magkaroon ng relationships but hindi lang intimate sa digital world. So, hindi lang tungkol sa mag-boyfriend-girlfriend. So, mas madali tayo magkaroon ng mga relationships online. So, people are slowly putting aside their bodies in relating with others because the technology technological society offers an alternative which apparently they resolve human of an embodied subject. Okay? So madami na tayong naririnig na instances na gaya niyan. Ano po? Na although nakakasama natin sila physically, pero mas gusto nila na sa online world na ginagalawan nila. Gusto nila na nandun lang sila sa four corners or sa digital world. Kasi mas free daw sila doon. Mas minamahal sila doon. Nalilimutan na natin ang real world na di na natin halos ma-distinguish kung ano nga ba ang real world sa virtual world. Ayan. So think about that. Okay, now let us go to our assessment activity. Okay, true or false. Write the word true if the statement is correct and write the word false if the statement conveys otherwise. Write your answer on the comment section and wag natin kalimutan, as always, write the number and the letter and your answer. Okay. Okay, number 1. Virtual society relatively provides a new world for us. Is it true or false? Okay, write down your answer in the comment section. Okay, gusto kong batiin ang mga nandito ngayon online, si Jamia Padilla, Lia Mel Soliman Antonio, Leslie Tongohan, Axel Santiago, Samantha Bugarin, Nessie Escultura. Ayan, may mga sagot na tayo. Si Samantha, Althea, Lorraine, Nessie. Ang kanilang mga sagot ay puro true. Si Jamia, true. Ayan, sunod-sunod na true. Ano nga ba ang tamang sagot, cuties? So, ang tamang sagot ay, very good guys, it is true. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Virtual worlds and disembodied relations promote commitment. Okay? Virtual worlds and disembodied relations promote commitment. Is it true or is it false? So write down number 2 and your answer, which is true or false. So what is your answer? Ayan, si Jewelry. Ayan, hello din kay Jewelry. Kay Jen Ausa. Sumasagot pa rin sila sa ating number 1 question kasi nga, sabi natin before ay merong 2-second, 1-second delay sa ating mga Facebook Live. Okay, so may mga sagot na tayo sa number 2. Si Samantha, si Althea, si Lorraine, Kaysilyn, Jen, Ira, yan, dami na. Ang kanilang sagot ay false. False nga ba ito? Okay, ang tamang sagot ay false. Very good, cuties. Okay, let's have number 3. Okay, number 3. Human society continuously develop as humans develops themselves. Okay, for number 3, human society continuously develop as humans develop themselves. Okay, is it true or is it false? Ayan, so write down na number 3 and then your answer, which is true or false. Ayan. So we have Althea, our top fan. Ayan, puro top fan pala to. Si Althea, si Samantha, si Nessie. Hello, ayan, yung mga cuties natin. Sumasagot na for number 3. Ang kanilang mga sagot ay true. True nga ba, cuties? Tingnan nga natin. Okay, so ang tamang sagot ay true. Thank you, cuties. Very good. Lahat kayo ay tama ang sagot. Ayan, so let's move on to another topic. So, our topic is about human person and death. Okay? So, after going through this module, you are expected to explain the phenomenological notion of death, give the characteristics of death, relate death with the concept of a good life based on authenticity, reflect on one's own death, and embrace death as a natural phenomenon. Okay. So let's have an activity, another activity, true or false. Mabilisan. Write the word true if the statement is correct and write the word false if the statement conveys otherwise. Write your answer on the comment section below. Okay. Number 1. Oh. So may pangalawa tayong ano? instruction, it's T or F na lamang. Okay, let's start. T for true and F for false. Number 1, immortality can be achieved by a man. Okay? Is it true or false? Immortality can be achieved by man. So write down number 1 and your answer. Just the letter T for true and F for false. Immortality can be achieved by man. Okay, so meron na tayong sagot. We have Althea, Samantha, Nessie, Lorraine, Carlin. Okay, ang dami na nating mga sagot. We all have F. Ayan, meron din namang true ang sagot. Okay, ano nga ba ang tamang sagot? Cuties. Okay, so ang tamang sagot, true, sabi ni Irish. Hello, ang tamang sagot, cuties, ay F. Okay, so next we have number 2. Sorry. Death is impending. Okay, number 2, death is impending. Is it true or false? Okay, write down number 2 with your answer. Okay, is it T or F? Ayan, may mga sumasagot pa rin sa number 1. Meron na ba tayong sagot for number 2, cuties? Ayan, si Althea. Okay, ang ating isa sa mga cutie of the week, si Althea. Ayan, ang sagot niya ay true. Si Lorraine true, si Carlin F, si Kayselyn T, si Irish true, si Ira T, si Leslie T. Ayan, puro TT. Ayan, T. Madaming letter T. Okay, ang tamang sagot, cuties, ay true. Okay, now let's move on to number 3. We can always decide how we will die. Okay, is it true or false? Is it letter T or F? Okay, for number 3, we can always decide how we will die. Is it true or false? Write down the letter T for true and F for false. Okay, may sagot na tayo. Si Lorraine, si Irish, si Althea, si Kayselyn, si Samantha, si Nessie. Ang kanilang mga sagot ay F. Okay, alamin natin, cuties, kung tama sila. Ang tamang sagot ay F or false. Okay, very good, cuties. Now, let's move on to our lesson. Okay, our lesson 2 is about death. So, what is your initial reaction when you read the title of this part of our lesson? Is death really a terrifying phenomenon? Or is it a dreadful thing? What makes it so fearsome? Bakit nakakatakot siya, no? So, at this junction, we will try to uncover the mystery of death by rationalizing its phenomenon so that we get to understand it better, accept it as part of our human nature, and treat it as a condition that allows us to create a meaningful existence. Ayan, sumagot si Samantha ng yes. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, phenomenological notion of death. Okay, according to Martin Heidegger, so he is from 1889 to 1976, in his book, Being and Time, death is certain, indefinite, one's property, non-relational, and not to be outstripped. Okay, now let us look at each one of those notions closer. Okay? So first, we have death is certain. As part of humanness, we are all born in Heideggerian sense. We are thrown. Yun yung kanyang term, no? Thrown. Sabi ni Heidegger, okay? We are all born in the world. The world is governed by time. We humans are existing in time. Thus, as being thrown into the world, we have beginning. And since we are finite beings, we also have end. That is death. Birth and death are two things we cannot remove from our existence. Whether we like it or not, we will die. Okay? So, death is certain. So, since we have a beginning, we also have an end. Yan ang sinasabi ng first notion natin. Okay? Death is certain to come. Okay, next we have death is indefinite. Now, While death is sure to come, it is however indefinite as to when it will come. Okay, death is impending, meaning to say it can happen anytime. Okay, we do not know exactly when. That is why we should try to live the best life that we can, for we never know the day of our end. So again, it is quite easy to understand that death is indefinite. Hindi natin masasabi kung kailan ito darating. Kaya, we have to try and live the best life that we can have, di ba? Kahit bata ka pa, kahit na high school ka pa lang, 'di ba? So we have to give and live the best life that we have. So because sabi natin, death is indefinite. Hindi natin alam kung kailan ito darating. So 'di ba? Sa panahon ngayon, lalo ngayong may pandemya, hindi natin masasabi kung kailan siya darating. At wag naman sana sa mga minamahal natin. Sigurado ako meron dyan, mga kapitbahay natin, mga kakilala natin, na bigla na lang nawala or kinuha ng namatay dahil nga death is indefinite, di ba? Okay. Now let's move on. Now we have death is one's property. That death of one person, of the person, belongs to him. Nobody can experience his death except himself. Medyo morbid. There can be no proxies or substitutes for a person in experiencing death. Ayan. So death is one's property. So walang second chances. Okay? Walang proxy, walang substitution, walang ikaw na nga muna ang mamatay, mga ganyan. Hindi pwede yan. That is bad. Okay? So, walang second chances, walang proxy-proxy, walang substitution. So, if death comes, it's yours to own and no one else. Okay? Death is one's property. Okay, next, we have death is non-relational. Okay, this means that when we die alone. We have no choice but to face it on our own. Death is also removes all our relations to others. In contemplating death, we realize our own individuality and independence from the world. Okay? Tulad ng sinabi natin kanina, it's yours and yours alone. We are independent in this instance of a human being. So death is non-relational. So we die alone, no? Okay, wag tayong magpilosopo na pwede namang we don't die alone. No, that is not what we mean here. Okay? So, when we die alone. Hindi nararamdaman ng iba ang ating nararamdaman. Okay? Napuputol ang ating relationship with others. Ayan, that is non-relational. Okay, next we have death is not to be outstripped. Okay, finally, ano ibig sabihin nito? That death cannot be taken away from a person. Even the person himself cannot remove the possibility of death in his life. One cannot make himself live forever. So wala tayong elixir of immortality. Even though we see in fiction movies the idea of immortality, death in real life is a definite reality which nothing can be done to be outstripped. So, hindi natin maaalis ang death. Okay? It may sound morbid, di ba? But it is something that one should also realize that death is a part of our being. Di ba? Hindi mo yon maihihiwalay sa atin kasi mga tao tayo. We will sooner or later be looking death face to face. Ayan. So next we have death and authenticity. What is this? Authenticity is an idea mostly used in existentialism, which means having true and meaningful existence. According to Soren Kierkegaard, we have to avoid the crowd, the majority of the society, which we think that should be the pattern of our lives. For example, we see people marrying, therefore we also have to marry. But authenticity is not like that. We have to freely choose marrying. Hindi yung dahil, nag-aasawa na silang lahat, mag-aasawa na rin ako. O kaya, buntis na silang lahat, magpapabuntis na rin ako. Hindi po ganon. We have the word authenticity. We have to freely choose. Kung gusto mo talagang manganak na, and then go. Pag gusto mo na talagang mag-asawa, and then go, you have to choose freely. You have to choose or make up your decisions freely. Ayan. So, minsan, kaya tayo nagfe-fail na magkaroon ng authentic. Bakit ba sinasabi natin yung authenticity? Kasi usually ngayon, nagfe-fail na tayo to have an authentic life. Okay? Minsan, kaya nagfe-fail na tayo magkaroon ng authentic na buhay ay ang takot natin, no? Pinangungunahan tayo ng takot. Takot sa kalalabasan, yung ayaw natin yung mga consequences ng ating mga ginagawa. So, that is the challenge. That is one of the important messages of death. Na how to make our life authentic. Okay? When we accept death, we realize the value of having a true life, of having an authentic life. So, sasabihin natin, when we talk about the idea of having a meaningful existence, kumusta nga ba ang buhay mo sa ngayon? Okay? Let's reflect on that. Kumusta nga ba ang buhay mo nga sa ngayon? Diba? Ayan. So that is authenticity. Okay, so reflection. So after realizing that death is certain and impending, we should at all times be ready for death. It is just like a thief in the night, so we have to prepare for it. Okay? So now, I'd like you to write a short essay about your realizations and your insights about death. Then write on a separate paper your own eulogy and send it to your philosophy teacher. Okay? So next meeting, we will be reading, and I hope you send it also to us, your tutors, okay, sa akin, kay Tutor G and kay Tutor Aid. So, I'd like you to write a short essay about your reflections for today and then write a eulogy, your own eulogy. Ano nga ba ang gusto mong isulat at gusto mong marinig about you? Okay? So, that will be for next meeting. I'd like you to be reading your own essays for next meeting, okay? Now, let's wrap up. New technologies and approaches are merging the physical, digital, and biological worlds in ways that will fundamentally transform humankind. The extent to which that transformation is positive will depend on how we navigate the risks and opportunities that arise along the way. That is by Klaus Schwab. Ayan. Now, let me leave you a quote to remember. It is not length of life, but depth of life that is important. Okay? It is not the length of life, but depth of life that is important. Diba? That is according to Ralph Waldo Emerson. Okay. So muli narito ang bumubuo ng Senior High School Humanities and Social Sciences. Lagi po tayong sumubaybay tuwing alas 4 ng hapon para sa Philosophy of the Human Person. Okay, for your feedbacks and suggestions, visit https://tinyurl.com/ETUlay feedback form, or you can also scan the QR code you are seeing in your screens right now. Okay, so dito na nagtatapos ang ating Humstastic episode para sa pitong linggo ng ating online tutorial. Muli, ako si Tutor G na gigil na kayo ay paglingkuran at matuto sa hapong ito. So, sa ngalan ng aking partner, maraming salamat sa inyong pagtutok and we hope to see you again next week. So, for comments and suggestions, please email us at edtech@deped.gov.ph. Ngayon, susunod na ang disciplines and ideas in the social sciences kasama si Tutor Sheila at Tutor M. Okay? Ngayon, paalam guys, ikaw ang best tuwing Huwebes. Bye guys! Thank you for...
Ang husay naman! Natapos mo ang iyong tutorial session kasama ang iyong mahusay na ETUlay tutor. May bago ka bang natutuhan? I-share na yan gamit ang hashtag #ETUlayLevelUp. Huwag aalis ha dahil may susunod pang programa na pwede mo ring panoorin at salihan. dahil naghihintay na ang iyong mga tutors. Happy learning dito sa ETUlay!